very interesting project in the Pokemon community called Pokémon Rescue. In 2017, TPCI formed the Pokémon Rescue team to help players save their Pokemon from older games. We haven't heard from them since Dexit. More about that later. In 2025, we have brought it back. Bring any Pokemon game to Worlds in Anaheim, and we will help you bring it home. So yeah, just kind of setting up the entire transfer system, which is what the Pokemon Company did in the past. So these videos have been taken down, we got re-uploads, but they had like a commercial for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and this whole skit where they go into people's houses, they dig up the old grody cartridge, and then they set up the transfer, bring it home, and there you go. So my initial thought was this guy's overselling it as some kind of legit thing, because it really just seems clear that it's a skit they just cobbled together for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, since this is just like a commercial, little promotional kind of thing. And this is what I'm talking about, where like, yeah, they set it up, Pokemon Rescue. There was like multiple episodes, so there's like mini-sodes of, you know, sorting through, finding the old cartridge, and then saving the Pokemon in a very dramatic kind of way. However, it was a real thing, kind of, so flashbang warning. Except it was only for one day, and it was a lottery system for just a couple of people at the Pokemon Center. So we will hold a lottery once in the morning, and then once in the afternoon. 3 people per session. A total of 6 people can participate in the experience over 3 hours. And then they have all the requirements and what you can do. So if you're transferring from Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, or whatever, here's what you gotta do. Diamond, Pearl, Black and White, Omega, Ruby, and Alpha, Sapphire, or Sun and Moon. You don't need to rescue for Sun and Moon. Man, imagine how bad that would be, like, if you wanted to bring, like, a Sapphire Pokemon, you lost the lottery, and then someone wanders up with, like, X and Y just to trade into Sun and Moon. There's no way. So this is something that the Pokemon Company actually did, except it was just a one-off promotional event and not a service that they offered, even though it would be the coolest thing ever if you could go into a Pokemon Center and have, like, a dedicated Pokemon Rescue service, because once you have it set up with all the systems and just, like, have it streamlined, it's actually not that crazy. But my problem is the misrepresentation here of everything going on. TPCI didn't do this. This was just the Pokemon Company. Pokemon Company International is everything outside of Japan. They are also their own separate rogue entity, which is why cheaters like Wolf Glick just get away with cheating, because we have corrupt people like Scott Glaza, Cybertron that support cheating within the Pokemon Company, let their friends cheat to steal prize money and opportunity from other legitimate competitors. TPCI covers up all the cheating from the Pokemon Company Japan and Game Freak, and that's why we have all these issues. It's also why Worlds 2023 happened. It's finally hosted in Japan. We see a record amount of disqualifications, but no bans, because guess what? Chris Brown is the global director of esports, and he's with the Pokemon Company International, covering it up from the Japanese Pokemon Company. So they tried to sell it as like some kind of legit thing, and then for some reason they make it about Dexit, even though Dexit has literally nothing to do with this. It's not like the Pokemon Company had to go into hiding out of shame, or because the service doesn't work anymore because the National Dex doesn't exist. No, it was literally a commercial for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. That's how they tied it in every single time. So I don't know why this dude is taking a genuinely really cool thing and then just lying about it. So that's right, we will help you rescue any Pokemon from Gen 3 right up to the Switch. Take your childhood partners and prepare to play with them in the newest titles. Missed an event back in the day, we'll be giving out Eon Ticket, Aurora Ticket, Pokeball Vivillon, and more. So this is also where it was like, oh, that seems a little sketchy, except it isn't, because the Eon Ticket is repeatable on save files, and you can also give away like 30 of them off of just one Eon Ticket with the Wonder Card. Aurora Ticket, I believe, also has some kind of repeatability. Pokeball Vivillon, that has to be a limited distribution, and more, and then I inquired a bit more about how does the and more work. So, can you guys do the old Celebi event from Heart Gold Soul Silver? Sure. I was skeptical, but they actually have the Celebi distribution cart, and here is probably like the darkest thing in Pokemon legality, because there's a lot of... Man, I have a hard time not calling them idiots, but there's a lot of idiots out there. They're like, oh yeah, you can get legit distributions for Pokemon Black and White. You know, you just change your DNS settings on your DS, and then you can get all the old Gen 5 distributions for Black and White, and it's legit. No, you're joining a hacked server to get a hacked distribution. But then we have these distribution cartridges that were never returned to Nintendo, but you can use them to get the exact same event because they're not time-gated. They're not bound in any way. It's just, you have the cart, it creates the mystery gift. It's against the rules that Pokemon may only be used if they are received from an official Pokemon event or distribution. This is no longer an official distribution. So we're not even like digging into the TOS to find out that RNG manipulation is illegal like we've done in the past, or any other kind of weird workarounds people try to find for Pokemon legality. This is just straight up in the Play Pokemon VGC rules that Pokemon from this distribution are not legal. And it makes sense because the exclusivity of the event is ruined if you're claiming it in 2025 outside of the time frame for the event, well outside of it, to an infinite degree. Now, as a part of this setup, I think it's really neat, but it's not legal. Let's see what else we've got. Have a Pokemon you've always wanted to catch but didn't have the games do so. We will have just about everything you could need to obtain any repeatable Pokemon. Please reach out via DM. So you can also kind of like schedule, hey, I want, you know, this Pokemon from Fire Red, Leaf Green. I just want like an original one. You can do that. If there's an event you missed out on back in the day, or you really need a certain Pokemon for Regulation J, let me know. Try to make sure we are prepared to help you out. So you can also kind of bring up the events and stuff, and then if you've never seen the original rescue team. Now my main thought is, this would actually be the coolest thing ever if the Pokemon community wasn't all cheating. Like, why would someone go through all this trouble when the most popular player that's also supported by the Pokemon Company is a cheater with Wolf Glick, and every top player is a cheater, and I wouldn't be surprised if 99% of people at Pokemon Worlds are cheating. Doesn't make sense to spend thousands of dollars for a community that doesn't care if they received a hacked any of this. And projects like this make me upset because the Pokemon trading economy would be so beautiful if cheating didn't exist in any capacity, or if the community wasn't just 99% toxic, spoiled brats that don't care about cheating. And that's why I call it the trading economy, because if you had a setup like this, you effectively have infinite power to get or do whatever you want in the Pokemon community and just be the coolest guy ever. That if hacking didn't exist, imagine how awesome it would be if you were just speedrunning Urshifu and you got it down to it's like, yeah, I can get an Urshifu every hour and a half-ish, or maybe even less than that, because you have that speed run down. If you're a very skilled shiny hunter, you can go, hey, I'll give you 2 of these untrained shinies for an Urshifu, or a fully trained shiny competitive Pokemon for an Urshifu, just out of convenience. So you make your own, like, training factory, going back to Pokemon Let's Go, when it was only Pokemon Let's Go back in 2018, fastest way to hyper train any Generation 1 Pokemon, or get a shiny Generation 1 Pokemon, was through that game. So, oh, it's Ultra format. I need a Solgaleo for my team. I'll give you a shiny Charizard that's hyper trained for your Solgaleo. And if you have all of your consoles in a box to where you can go Pal Park into Poké Transporter, into Pokemon Bank, into Pokemon Home for whatever you want, yeah, you're just kind of the most awesome person ever. Or you do the service, because the whole thing about what the Pokemon Center did was they let you do like 6 Pokemon at a time. It's like, hey, I can get you like any Ruby Pokemon, or I'll take your Sapphire cartridge and I'll do 6 Pokemon all the way up into Pokemon Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet right now. You gotta give me that shiny, fully trained, whatever Pokemon. And again, it'd be really sick if this was like a legitimate service offered at the Pokemon Center. Maybe they'd get flooded, but if you are, like, this is where one of the few times I will say you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Every other time it's used, it's idiot NPCs. They're just yapping about something they don't understand. But with this, you could just have, like, you could just pay one person with all the consoles and stuff to just accept and, like, exchange Pokemon. Maybe you have to make a purchase. You make a $50 purchase at the Pokemon Center, and then you can spend 30 minutes with Pokemon Rescue Team. Would have been the most wicked play ever, and it still could exist in every Pokemon Center as is. But nah, people talking about wanting to set up something like this at a shop, that would make you the coolest card shop owner ever, especially if you have the Premier Challenges or now the Cups and Leagues going on. that would bring so much business in a world where everyone wasn't just cheating. So yeah, really awesome project. Really weird that no one in the Pokemon community can just be normal and not lie about things. And unfortunately, this doesn't really matter because everyone in the Pokemon community is cheating, and for some reason, I'm the only one calling out. I'd imagine that if you spent thousands of dollars to do some kind of legit setup to bring to Worlds, you would also want to make the note of how, like, yeah, it's unfortunate that everyone's a cheater, including Wolf Click. And then despite doing all this work, they're still not 100% legit because they want the attention and they want to make it like a really cool thing for people. But it does feel really bad when you are taking away from the value of other people's events by using unauthorized distributions. And for some reason, other people are also on the Dexit nonsense. Like, hearing the Pokemon Rescue team genuinely made me feel sad. That video was removed since Dexit, not because of Dexit. My friend went to ask Masuda about it, and he got blocked by Masuda. Remember when Junichi Masuda actually tweeted to stop bothering him because he was getting harassed on even his birthday? That's why you got blocked. Not because you were trying to get to the case or get to the bottom of this real thing that actually existed. No, it's because you are trying to tie a promotional thing unrelated to Dexit to harass Masuda. Neat project. Too bad it doesn't really mean anything. Would have been cool to see set up in other places, and there's just a lot of people out there that are doing it anyways. Like, if you just have all those in a box, maybe it actually would be cool if you bought a case and then spent like $100 making a neat little thing for yourself and creating a Pokemon transfer station like this guy did. So there we go. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.